Hey, everybody. Welcome to our NFL football show. I'm Chris Pugh. As always, guy Canton Repository sports writer Peter Holland with me today. Peter, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Chris?
Good. Very good. Kind of a light weekend in the AFC North. All the teams play each other. We had the Browns and Bengals. Yeah, I almost said Bengals again. And the Steelers and Ravens battled against each other. Let's take a look at both games. First of all, we had the Browns and the Bengals. Kind of a workmanlike day for the Bengals. Their offense was really rolling over the past couple weeks. They did okay. Scored 23. Beat Cleveland 23-10. A lot of questions after the game, but let's first start with the Bengals. Any concern? I mean, they're not going to score 40 every game. Seem like any concern about their offense? Let's start there.
No, there's really no concern for the Bengals at this point. They're pretty hot right now. You just want them to get healthy. That's all that matters. So you hope it's starting to look like what we were expecting for a Bengals that's coming off a Super Bowl last season. So it looks to me that that's exactly what we expected from the Bengals. They're the hot team right now. Everyone is playing well, especially offensively. So it's good to see the Bengals are looking like what we expected them to be.
I thought it was funny. Some people were like, "Oh, they only scored 23 points." I mean, come on. It's still the NFL. It's still professional teams. I mean, this isn't like if you're playing mediocre college teams all the time. You're going to have some of those games. And I'll tell you, even though the Bengals may not have looked as dominant as they've had in other games, hey, they still be a pro team by 13. I don't think they did that bad at all on Sunday.
It was a low scoring game, very competitive. The Browns had a lot of fight in them, so I wouldn't hold that against them either, being that it's just a divisional game. The Bengals look like the Bengals handled their business. They definitely outperformed them in the second half. Once Joe Burrow got into his rhythm, once he finds on Jamar Chase, once the running game was going, they're back where they left off. So yeah, it was definitely a good win for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, and especially when you get Jamar Chase 10 for 119 and a touchdown. Hey, when you got Jamar Chase back playing like that, you're in good shape.
Absolutely. Probably right now the only concern is just getting them healthy. I saw that dude lost T. Higgins. That's something that you can't really afford. Because he's been very solid when Jamar Chase went down. So you just hope that T. Higgins he's good and ready and healthy between now and the postseason.
It was funny. Other than Jamar Chase, no Bengals receiver had over 2 catches. So I think that lends a lot of credibility to what you're saying about T. Higgins.
T. Higgins, it's T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd. Both of those guys. You can't two good receivers that complement Jamar Chase. You just can't afford to lose. So you just hope that they'll be ready between now and the playoffs.
And, they scored 23 points without 2 of their top receivers. So, hey, I wouldn't fault the Bengals at all. Believe me, after seeing the play of the quarterbacks on my team, the Steelers, Joe Burrow, 18 for 33 for 239, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Not his best game of the year. But as a Steeler backer, I'd take that on my team if I could. Unfortunately, the Steelers aren't providing that at all. It was interesting about the Browns. I saw you tweeted something out about Deshaun Watson. And, yeah, I'm not quite sure about the game plan around Watson. Watson 26 for 42, 276, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. But it seemed to be you were concerned about some of the play calling, would you say, around Deshaun on Sunday?
I will point out that one play where they took Deshaun Watson out and put Jacoby Brissett in. It was like 4th and 1, and they decided to go deep. That was something that didn't really make sense to me. I mean, I wasn't really a fan of the play call. It looked like it could have executed well if Brissett didn't overthrew was time in people's zones, overthrew him. We probably wouldn't even have the discussion really a fan of the play calling and let it go taking Deshaun Watson out.
Well, and if you believe Deshaun Watson's the better quarterback, which, again, he's rusty. I mean, I think if you find fault with him playing, Deshaun's rusty, but you don't take out your better quarterback for a backup, if you're throwing deep or even short. You leave your best guy in the game, I mean, it's one thing if Jacoby Brissett was like a real fast scrambler, but Watson has more speed than Brissett. Yeah, I'm not sure what the point was for bringing him in. I mean, Jacoby Brissett's done good for the Browns this year, but he's not better right now than Deshaun.
I think they were just trying to switch things up a bit. I think they just wanted to get Cleveland Browns on their toes, and they probably had a specific game plan mainly for Jacoby Brissett, which would not be a first time for that. They probably thought that they were just going to run the football or something like that. So, but just to go for a pass like that, I didn't really understand that at all. And 4th and 1 when all you need just to run the football, or even just take the 3. I mean, it didn't really understand.
Bengals defense has been playing a lot better lately. It kind of showed. Nick Chubb, 14 carries for 34 yards. Deshaun had 33 on a couple scrambles. But, man, Browns' rushing offense didn't do well. It obviously didn't help Cleveland. And I think part of it's the Bengals have a good run defense.
Well, doesn't help when you don't have any linebackers left. You're pretty much – you just lost JOK, your 4th linebacker out for the season. So it's going to be very challenging between now and their final game. So for the Cleveland Browns, it's just getting through the season. They're not going anywhere. So they try to just get through the season week by week and see what happens. They're going to need some more. They're going to have to make some signing because I don't know exactly who's going to be their linebackers. But hey, maybe you should go down to Cleveland and try out some linebackers, Chris, and they could use some extra bodies.
Could you imagine if I played for the Browns? That would be very strange. It'd be very strange if I played for any pro football team, but especially the Browns.
They wouldn't tell the difference.
Okay. Well, they're not going to look on my Facebook page and say, hey, you like the other team. Why are you playing here? Oh, man. Browns have got an interesting game coming up, and we'll talk in a second about the Ravens and Steelers. I'm still a little sore about that one, to be honest with you. But they play the Ravens, and it's weird. It's a Saturday afternoon game. The NFL Network has a package of a couple games at the end of the year. Browns got flex. It's a 4:30 game on NFL Network. It'll be on, I believe it's Channel 5 locally if you're up in the Cleveland area. Going to be kind of interesting. I would say Baltimore would definitely be favored in theory, but the Ravens appears like no Lamar Jackson. I haven't heard for sure yet if their backup will be able to play. So the Ravens may be down to the 3rd quarterback. They still beat the Steelers. What do you think the Browns' chances are if the Ravens, especially if they all have Huntley in there, down to quarterback number 3?
Well, for starters, we know why they beat the Steelers. The Steelers are horrible, and so is Mitch Trubisky. We can just start with that.
Right, yeah. We'll get there. We'll get there.
I just wanted to point that out and say this. But as far as what that game goes, you hope that Tyler Huntley clears protocol on time. If not, they got to deal with Anthony Brown, and you're probably not going to let him do too much if that's the case. Run the football, Run the football. You can never go wrong with that, and they're going to have to rely on it. I mean, the good news is that J.K. Dobbins is back and he's healthy 100%. So it was good to see him get him going. He can help create drives for the Ravens, and the defense has also just been stellar, so that also helps a bit too. So you will hope that having a strong run game and a defense to get you through it, you don't want to make it a lot easier for your quarterback and make it easier for the offensive coordinator as well.
I got to tell you, the game's at Cleveland, especially if it gets to Anthony Brown. I think the Browns have a legitimate chance. I think to your point, yeah, the Ravens have got to keep running until they get stopped. And the Browns have not been too well at stopping the run. And you've mentioned about their some injury concerns at linebacker. So, if the Browns can stop the run, they got a legitimate chance, especially if the Ravens start Anthony Brown. But that said, the Browns are having a hard time stopping the run, and that's happened to the Steelers. The Steelers couldn't stop the run. Ravens won the game, so it'll be interesting. I know this is a bad pick, but I would say if Anthony Brown starts, the Browns win. If Huntley starts, the Ravens win. Is my pick. Would you agree?
I don't know. This is kind of up in the air. I think the Ravens still win it. Doesn't matter really who is at quarterback. I think they still find a way to pull through.
Okay. And then the Bengals next week, they go to Tampa Bay. Looks like the CBS national game. Tampa Bay's kind of rough. You think Cincinnati can pull this out?
Why wouldn't they? You saw what happened in San Francisco.
Yeah.
That was pretty bad. That's as bad as it gets. So, yeah.
Now, obviously, a rough performance by Tom Brady last week. Any chance, and I'm not expecting him to throw for 5 touchdowns. Any chance he can rebound him, even play a game manager game, or is this the end of Tom Brady?
I'm sure Tom Brady is still probably going to have something. He'll probably say, "I'm pissed off after last week," and probably will play better. But I just think the Bengals will be the better team.
Man, if the Bengals win, Buccaneers are at the top of the NFC South with a 6-7 record. They could be at the top with a 6-8 record. Man, NFC South is not doing too well this year.
NFC South sucks.
Yes,
just saying, man. You're saying too nice. They suck, all 4 of them.
I'll tell you, a few weeks back, the Ravens. I was really excited about the Ravens. I thought, man, the Ravens could be an upcoming team. The Ravens keep trying to give away games. And I'll tell you, the Ravens played well enough to win, but they surely let the Steelers back in. As you're right, the Steelers had a really rough game on Sunday. And for some reason, they kept kind of hanging around there. I know the Ravens had injury issues at quarterback. The Ravens held on to win 16-14. But, man, my goodness, the Steelers were playing better over the past couple weeks. The run defense fell apart. They gave up a ton of yards. Huntley got knocked out of the game. Anthony Brown came in, and, the Ravens pretty much had to run every play. They threw a couple real short passes, but it didn't matter. The Steelers couldn't stop them. And Mitch Trubisky, say what you want by Kenny Pickett, but Pickett at least wasn't throwing interceptions over the past couple of weeks. Trubisky threw 3 interceptions, and the Ravens blocked the Steelers' field goal. I mean, for as bad as the Steelers played, they still had a bunch of chances to win. They couldn't make do. Ravens 16, Steelers 14. And, the Steelers had a really small chance of making the playoffs, and those are games they're going to kick themselves for. They had a chance to win. They just couldn't do it.
Steelers ain't going to the playoffs. I don't know why we want to put them in the contention that they're done as far as that goes. But I think probably to your point with Chris, Kenny Pickett didn't go through that protocol. He wasn't out to that game. I think they would have had a chance of upsetting the Baltimore Ravens. That was I think that Kenny Pickett showed enough that you could win with them. I think putting in Mitch Trubisky it was just emergency type thing that because he's a veteran, but Mitch Trubisky looked exactly what you would think he would be. But I don't know, man. And as far as with the Ravens goes, they have their moments where they would break down, but I think they're trying to overcome that kind of narrative now that they already overcome that narrative ever since that losing to the Jaguars. So that's something they didn't want to deal with that again. So I think finishing strong and getting a high seed. And what's great about it is they pretty much control their own destiny. Browns the weekend, then they got the Falcons, and then they got the Steelers. So Steelers again. So they really are on a good driver's seat that even despite how the season looked for them, they are still in good position to at least win 11 and 12 games. So,
and they really persevered against the Steelers. Steelers had a third quarter field goal. It was blocked. And give the Ravens credit. They made the plays when they needed to. And Mitch Trubisky is not the quarterback. There was some talk. We're taping this on Wednesday. Kenny Pickett was a limited participant in practice today. They said he might come back, but if he doesn't, there's a lot of questions saying maybe they start Mason Rudolph. Now, I'm not crazy about Mason Rudolph either, but I'd probably rather see Mason Rudolph next week than Mitch Trubisky. Steelers go to play Carolina, which is kind of wild. Carolina has had some good games. They've had some really rough games. What concerns me about Carolina, their two back system that they got right now, they're both playing really well. And the Steelers proved last week they couldn't stop the run. If they can't stop the run this week, they lose to Carolina. No questions asked.
I will say this, Chris. Obviously, I said earlier that the NFC South sucks. They are pretty bad. But don't underestimate this Carolina Panthers team. That team is very, very competitive, and they have gone ever since they fired Matt Rule. Ever since they finally let go Baker Mayfield, they were rolling with Coach Wilkes. So it's actually kind of inspiring in a way, especially after last week when they beat the Seattle Seahawks and in their territory. Carolina could somehow sneak their way of winning the division if they win all out, and it's kind of in a way it's kind of in their favor if they beat the Steelers. They got the Lions. The Lions are pretty hot themselves too, is what the record says. Buccaneers and Saints. If they can win 3 of those 4, they can actually win the South. When this should be a tank year after firing Matt Rule. Well, you never know, and their defense is very solid as well. So I think I think Carolina really could actually dismantle the Steelers. To be honest with
you. Well, and Carolina's got a good running game right now. I mean, their running game alone could dismantle the Steelers because the Steelers can't stop the run right now, and Carolina's got a good running game. I mean, I was looking at Deonta Foreman and Chuba Hubbard. They both had 74 yards last week, but the run game, I mean, you thought the run game would be dismantled without Christian McCaffrey, but Foreman and Hubbard are both playing well. And if you can't stop the run, you're in trouble. And it wasn't just Foreman and Hubbard. Raheem Blackshear, 32 yards. Sam Darnold with 30 yards. Sam Darnold doesn't scare me, but that run game,
Yeah, the Panthers did a good job of rotating their backs, not making it too hard for Sam Darnold. Thing with their run game, I think they give an issue for the Steelers. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think Carolina wins just based on run game alone. I hate to say it. I like to pick my team, but it ain't gonna work. Anything else in the NFL? I mean, we focus here on the AFC North. Anything else you want to mention in the NFL? We got a little extra time this week for that.
All my Dolphins get their thing together because they're going to be at Buffalo, and that's a Saturday game as well. So hopefully their offense can finally bounce back. Other than that, yeah. Man.
Miami at Buffalo this week. Wow.
Yep. They're gonna be at that. They're gonna be at that tundra. I think it's gonna be like 28 degrees or something like that.
Wow. So, yeah. 8-15 game. Wow.
Yeah. So that's gonna be crazy. Man. Other than that, T.Y. Hilton went to the Cowboys. That's a big jump for them.
How much does T.J. Hilton have left? That's the only question I had after hearing that.
I'm sure he has some left in him. I think what's great about it is that it's not like you're putting him as your number one or as your number two. He's literally like could be like your third option, along with CD Lamb, Michael Gallup, and those guys. So you want him to at least half of what he was in Indy, and that could make a pretty much a difference in the world for the Dallas Cowboys since they're making that push.
Yeah, I was watching some of the games on Red Zone, and man, Dallas had a weird game last week. On paper, they were home against Houston. You would think, Dallas by a million, but the Texans played pretty good, and the Cowboys were able to, kind of come back at the end. But that was almost a shocking upset last week.
I think I heard about this, but I think for some reason the Dallas Cowboys always struggle against the Houston Texans where they face each other.
Yeah,
I can't really remember the last time they went against each other, their last meeting, but they always had an issue with the Houston Texans for some reason. But they got it done. They got to win. It was ugly, but a win's a win.
yeah. It was very strange game. But Houston outplayed them, but Dallas had enough horsepower at the end to come back and win. Let me take a peek at the news wire. I just want to make sure we're not missing anything else that's going on NFL wise. Best wishes to. I know Mike Leach was more of a college coach. That took a lot of people by surprise. Been reading and retweeting a lot of great stories about Mike Leach this week.
Yeah, that was a devastating loss. When I heard that, I was just hoping that he was going to pull through. That's very unfortunate. Condolences to the family out there, and yeah, that was devastating. I really like Mike Leach, man. I just love his personality. You never know what he's gonna say when the mic is in his hand. You just know that it's always a golden gem. So he's definitely gonna be missed in the college football world.
Definitely. Hey, I want to mention this too, a little bit off topic, but I want to mention on each of the shows. Twitch, the DJ for Ellen on her show died today. Kind of a shock, Pierre. He was only 40, died by suicide. And I just wanted to pass along, Peter, to anybody who's listening. Hey, talk to your friends. Make sure everything's going okay. Encourage them if it's not. But if you're out there, somebody out here listening, holidays can be kind of a depressing time. There's been a lot going on for people. Inflation's happening. You want to make sure you have the best holiday for your kids and everything. If you're depressed, 988 is the National Suicide Hotline. Get help. And the help is helpful and can help give you for a hard time. So I just wanted to mention that really quick at the end. Check out Rest in Peace to Twitch. Kind of surprising, but, get the help you need if you're out there and you need some help.
Right.
All right. Anything coming up for you, Pierre? We'll do our promo, I guess, on this segment. What you got coming up with the Canton Repository?
Next week is it's that national signing period. So right now we're just keeping track with who's going to be signing on December 21st. And we're just stacking up guys who are getting offers. So that's pretty much what I'm doing. I'm also working on a feature on a Michigan State player, actually, who's from Perry. He announced that he's going to be entering the NFL draft, and I got and spoke to him a little bit. So definitely going to put out a good feature about him and his beginning of his draft, his NFL journey.
More Sarkisian guys getting the NFL, always a good thing for up there. How many? I think we got a handful of Sarkisian guys, right, in the NFL?
We got two right now.
Okay.
We got two right now. Dominic Robinson, they're for both in the same draft class. So if Matt Ricker that's Matt Ricker is what I'm talking about. If he gets Matt Carrot is his name. Matt Carrot.
Okay.
Yeah, Matt Carrot from Michigan State. He's an offensive guard. Graduated at Perry. He played against Dominic Robinson when he was in McKinley, when he was the quarterback. He sacked him. So a little bit mutual interest there. But yeah, if Carrick does get drafted, he'll be the third start counting player on an NFL roster, and it'll be the second straight year. Another start counting player got drafted. So yeah, looking forward to keeping tabs on that.
Yeah, hearing you talk about current NFL players playing against each other with McKinley and Maslin makes what was it? Trying to look up that game. Yeah, I believe it was 97. I remember going to that game. Peter, it was McKinley against St. Ignatius, and the number of players who made the NFL on each team was ridiculous. I believe that year St. Ignatius had Anthony Gonzalez, McKinley had like Mike Toss, and a bunch of players that played in the NFL. And then their quarterback was actually Josh McDaniels, who's now the head coach for the Las Vegas Raiders. So there were so many guys that ended up in the NFL from that game. It was ridiculous.
It's really cool.
Yeah, it was interesting. I never thought at the time. Well, actually, you know what? I take that back. I'm looking up an article. The quarterback that year was Ben McDaniels. Josh also played for McKinley, but Ben was the quarterback. It wasn't Josh. But you had what was it? McKinley had Michael Dawson in the game. Kenny Peterson, who went to play for the Packers. Jameer Martin, who played for the Cowboys, and Antonio Hall, that played for the Colts. And obviously, a couple of those guys are currently with McKinley. So,
that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Charles Bentley played for St. Ignatius that game. Wow.
What's his name?
Charles Bentley. I remember he was a all-pro lineman. His career actually ended, I believe, with the Browns. But he was a real good offensive lineman for a while for the Saints. So, all right. Well, very good. Well, hey, thanks for checking out our NFL show. We're also going to tape a segment about college as we're getting ready for Ohio State against Georgia. So for Peters, this is Chris. Have a great day, everybody.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Mooney. Welcome to what is our new Hope Interrupted podcast based on the work from our book, Hope Interrupted, that I co-authored with my good friend Byron McCauley.
Hey, Jennifer, I'm looking forward to this podcast as much as I was looking forward to writing this book with you. We hope to interview some high-impact folks as well as have a little fun.
We're going to cover stories of hope. To learn more about our podcast and our book, please visit www.hopeinterrupted.com.